Okay, hello everyone. This is your tutor, Gus. So today I want to share some questions on probability. Specifically for Zambia, this is ECZ exam questions. So I'll start by defining what probability is. Probability is the likelihood or chance of an event taking place. So probability is calculated from the range 0 to 1. So that just in those ranges. So there is no number or there is no probability that would be negative, and there is no probability that would be 1 point something. So the minimum is 0 and the maximum is 1. That is about probability. So whatever you do, let it be from 0 to 1. So if you are very sure that an event will take place, then the probability is 1. For instance, since today it is Sunday, the probability that tomorrow it is Monday, we will say it is 1. Then probability that tomorrow is again Sunday is 0, because no day comes twice after 24 hours. So from there, I'm going to share some questions and how they can be calculated. So these are the questions. So there we have got the first question, which is a survey that was carried out at a certain hospital indicated that the probability that patient tested positive for malaria is 0.6. What is the probability that two patients selected at random, one tested negative while the other positive? Question B, both patients tested negative. So I'll go again through the question. A survey that was carried out at a certain hospital indicated that the probability that patient tested positive for malaria is 0.6. What is the probability that two patients selected at random, one tested negative while the other positive? B, both patients tested negative. So those are our questions. So now we'll go for the solutions. But before I look at the solutions, let me remind you of something. We said probability is calculated out of a total of 1. So here, since there is just a testing for malaria, so there is a probability that a person is sick, which is positive, and is not sick, which is negative. So we just have two options. It's either you are sick or you are not sick. It's either you test positive or you test negative. So in our question, we have been told that the probability that a patient tested positive is 0.6, meaning from a total of 1, subtract 0.6 to find the probability that the patient is negative. So if you subtract 0.6 from 1, the answer is 0.4, meaning the probability that the patient is negative or tested negative is 0.4. So we'll now go for the solutions. So the first question is asking us to find the probability that one patient tested negative while the other tested positive. So here we go. We are going to say probability is calculated out of 1. So we will say let P define positivity and let N define negativity. So we have been told in our question that 0.6 represents positive test. Then if we subtract from 1, we subtract 0.6, we are getting 0.4. So this is when the first patient is selected at random. What if another patient is selected? So again, maintain. If you started with Pn, let it just be like that, Pn. So if you come here, again you maintain your P and your N. So these probabilities are not changing because they are static in such a case that it's not a situation whereby you're selecting something and you're getting, you are just picking people, and we have been told the chances of those people having the malaria or not having it. So these are not changing, the values are still the same. So that is our case. So the probability of positive is still 0.6 and this one is still 0.4. So this is our tree diagram. So remember, every time you want to combine the branches, the answer should always be 1. If you take note, this is 0.6 and this is 0.4. Let me just make the point clear here. 0.4. If you combine this, it is 1. Combine that. Every time you combine the branches from a certain point, it should always give you 1. Then we come up with the sums. So here, how did we move? We moved positive and positive. Hence, we will have PP. So these had to be multiplied. What about this case? We moved from positive and then went to negative. So this one, we call it Pn. Then this one, we moved from N and then went to P. So this one, we'll call it N times P. Then the last one, which is down, it's N and another N. So this one, we are going to call it N. Then if we go to our question here says, find the probability that one tested negative while the other tested positive. So in simple terms, they are trying to tell us to show them how we can find the probability that one patient tested negative and the other positive. So as long as they are different, the order doesn't matter, as long as they are different. So in this case, we are going to say probability, sorry, let me just get a clear marker. Probability of negative and positive. So as long as they are different, then we are going to consider that. So check from these totals. Is this negative and positive? No. Is this negative and positive? Yes. So we have got this one, which is P times N. So once you move from this one to another one, you should put a plus. Remember, when you move from this one to this one, or just when you just move from any of the two, you put a plus. So we have selected that these are different. These are also different. So it will be N times P. If you look at the first and the last, they are the same. So they are not matching up with the question, which is saying probability that one is negative and the other one is positive. So from there, how did you get P? How did you get P times N? You started from here, you have got a 0.6 and then you add a 0.4. So P was 0.6 and N was 0.4. So P was 0.6 times 0.4. Then you say plus, what is N? Remember, N is always 0.4 from here, from this question. N is always 0.4. So if you come here, you select N, it's 0.4 times P, which is 0.6. So if you use your calculator and then come up with 0.4 times 0.6, it's giving us 0.24. That's from the calculator. Plus, this is just the same thing. So it's again 0.24. Then, if you combine 0.24 plus 0.24, you need to get 0.48. So make sure your answer is always 0 point something, 0 or 1. That's how we find our answers. It's always 0, 0 point something, or 1. So that is for the first one, which is saying the probability that one is positive and the other one is negative. So that's how we started, and that's we have finished. Okay, we now go to the next question. The next question is saying find the probability that both patients tested positive. Find the probability that both patients tested negative. So if you look at our tree diagram here, the probability that both patients tested negative, it's only here. So probability that both patients tested negative, probability of negative and negative. So we only have this part, which is n times n. Remember the probability of n from the tree diagram is 0.4. So if you come here, you're going to say 0.4 for this n times 0.4 for the other n. Using your calculator, I expect you to find 0.16 as your answer. Suppose they ask you, this question is not there, but the probability that both patients tested positive, you are going to pick PP. You're going to pick PP, and then your answer will be P times P, which is equal to 0.6 times 0.6. And we expect the answer to be 0.36. So that's how we can find the solutions to this question, which is here, which is saying a survey that was carried out at a certain hospital indicated that the probability that the patient tested positive for malaria is 0.6. What is the probability that two patients selected at random, one tested negative while the other positive? Both patients tested negative. So thank you very much. Please subscribe and share with other people so that you encourage me to do more. In the next video, I'll share the solution for this question, which is saying 13 cubes of the same size, numbered 1 to 13, are placed in a bag. If two cubes are drawn at random from the bag, one after the other, and not replaced, what is the probability that both cubes are odd numbered? Next question, what is the probability that only one is even numbered? So that will be the next video. Please wait and see for it. Thank you very much.